Today we're reviewing the book of the month written by Stanley, which is entitled How to Be Rich. And he emphasized that it is not about what you have, it is what you do with what you have. And to summarize the whole book, I will advise that you should read 1 Timothy chapter 6 from verse 1 to 21, or the whole chapter. However, today I'll be reviewing chapter 4 and chapter 5, starting from chapter 4. But before we go into that, so what understanding is talking about in the whole of the book, especially from verse 17 of the 1 Timothy chapter 6, he said, "Command those who are rich in this present world not to be arrogant, nor put their hope in wealth, which is so uncertain, but to put their hope in God, who richly provide us with everything." So what he's saying in essence is that he's using the word of Paul the Apostle, admonish Timothy to advise the rich people in his church not to put all their hope in their riches, because one of the effect or negative side effect of wealthy and the rich people is that they tend to be arrogant and put their hope in their wealth. So he said Timothy should advise the rich people in his church not to be arrogant or put their hope in their wealth. However, in verse 18, he advises that he should command them to be good and to be rich in good deeds and to be generous and willing to share. So he now moved down to chapter 4, which is said planning ahead, titled. It started when he said, "When I have money, I get rid of it quickly, lest it find its way into my heart." So what he's saying in essence is that whenever he has money or he's being rich a little bit, he tries to get rid of the money. And how do you do that? He said the essence of doing that is to neutralize the negative side effect of wealth. So he mentioned two negative side of effect of wealth is arrogant and putting their hope in their wealth. So to neutralize those negative effects, he said you need to get rid of those money quickly. And how do you do this? He said he gave us 3 P's, which is called 3 P's in a pod. And he said 3 great ideas that give us a picture of what it looks like to be generous. So to neutralize the negative side effect of being wealth is to be generous. And if you want to be generous, these 3 P's has to be in place. The number 1 P is priority giving. So priority giving, he emphasized that he has to make generosity your priority if you want to be rich, or one of the ways to be rich. So he said generosity won't happen unless you make it a priority. That is, you don't have to wait until you have so much money or you have so much wealth or you have so much riches. So he's saying in essence is that to be generous, all you need to do is start from where you are. Start from what God has given you. Start from what God has blessed you with. And it's not necessarily has to be finance. It can be anything, from your talent, from your time, from anything that God has blessed you with. So that is what he's saying about priority giving. That is number 1 P. Then the second P is percentage giving. Percentage giving, as I was saying, if you want to guide against the side effect of wealth, you can't evaluate your giving in terms of dollars or naira or pounds. So that is what he's saying about percentage giving. So percentage give you a better reflection of whether you have control of your money or your money has control over, or your money has control of you. So, and he's saying in essence, he made mention of an example of the parable that Jesus gave in the book of Mark chapter 12 from verse 43 to 44, talking about an elderly widow that gave everything she had, which is just about 1% of everything. However, there are some other rich people in that gathering that gave some percentage of what they of their riches. But this woman, this elderly widow, she came with everything and she gave it. And then Jesus Christ was telling his disciple that among all the people that gave on that day, that elderly widow woman gave the best because she gave everything she had. So what Andy Stanley was saying here is that percentage giving of what God has blessed you with. So you don't evaluate your giving based on either naira or either pounds or dollars or all those denominations. Give as God has blessed you with. So then the third P, which is progressive giving. He said to be progressive means that over time you raise the percentage of your giving as God has blessed you. Say, for instance, in the last 2-3 years, you are giving a certain percentage of your money, of your resources, and God now promoted you this year. God increased your wealth. God increased your income. That by progressive giving, you need to make a progressive in your giving of your resources to people with everything that God has given you. So you don't remain in a... We're going to chapter 5. Chapter 5 is talking about greater gain. So the topic of the chapter 5 is greater gain. So what Andy Stanley is saying is that what is necessary to change a person is to change his awareness of himself. He said, while generosity may be antidote for the negative side effects of wealth or riches, however, your appetite for more and more may function as a negative effect on generosity. So what is he saying in essence is that we need to control our appetite for riches, our appetite to become rich, to become wealthy in a lustful way. That is to say, love for money. And 1 Timothy chapter 6 verse 10, he said, for the love of money is the root of all evil. So he said we should be wary, or we should be aware and awareness of our more appetite to get more money, to get more riches, to get more wealth. Because if we don't control our appetite, that might negate the essence of generosity. He said, but how do we do this? Then he gave us what Paul Apostle gave Timothy in 1 Timothy chapter 6 and verse 6. He said, godliness with contentment is a greater gain. And that is why Andy Stanley summarized that chapter 5 as a greater gain. That we need to control our appetite. We need to be contented with what God has blessed us with. We need to take control of what God has given us. So that is what he's saying in essence. So in conclusion of these 2 chapter review that we are doing today, he said, by revising the greater gain that comes with contentment and opting for the gain that fueled by discontentment, we run the risk of so many things, and he itemized that. 1, we run the risk of falling into temptation. We run the risk of falling into trap of this world. We run the risk of wandering away from faith. And we run the risk of piercing ourselves with grief and sorrows. So these are what the implication of having greater appetite for more and for more and for more without controlling it. And I pray that as we read this book, may the Lord continue to help us all in Jesus' name.